Welcome back to the book break. My name is John Paul, also known as JP Read 6 on TikTok, and I'm here to give you guys the best black horror books to read right before Halloween. It's Black History Month, and Halloween at the end, so why not fuse the two together? Let's go. The first book is The Change Your Man by Tommy A. McInday. It follows our main character, Ife. She moves to a new school, but students around her are disappearing. So what does she do? She bands up with two other students and they go on a journey to solve this mystery. It's got some thriller, horror, like I said, it's dark academia. It's based for younger readers, but it does get a bit dark. So bear that in mind as you pick it up. The next book you have is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron. If you are a fan of thrashers and thrillers and horrors, you're going to love this book. It's an immersive horror experience gone wrong. One of the workers there, she goes to work, thinks she's just going there to do her day job, but then all the events start happening for real. People are actually trying to kill her. So it's a book that's great. It's black and it's queer, and again, perfectly on theme for Halloween. The next book on our list is Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. When a black girl trying to get into the Ivy League University loses her scholarship, she enrolls in these games to try and get her place back. But then things start going wrong, people actually start dying, like the contestants and the people that are around her start dying. And yeah, it's Dark Academia meets Squid Games. If you're someone who loves books where the stakes are high, again, perfectly in theme for Halloween, you're going to love this book. Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. Book number 4 is The Forest of Mars. It's due by Kosoko Jackson. He wrote the romance, I'm showing it over you, and he's dipped his toe into some horror. So when I got an art for this book, I was like, yeah, I definitely got to read this. Basically, what happens is you have a kid who's basically moved to a new school for some circumstances that I'm not going to share because it's a spoiler. And then what happens is kids start going missing again. And there's a mystical element, there's some curses here. And he basically moves through his life in the book trying to uncover the curse. As it's given us responsibility to try and undo the curse. It's a really weird, but Kosoko Jackson is a fantastic writer. And since he's dipped his toe into horror, again, it's black, it's queer, and perfectly on theme for Halloween. So if that sounds like a bit of you, when that book comes out, I suggest you pick it up. Next up, we have Out There Screaming, edited by Jordan Peele. It's a collection of short stories by black authors, and it's here to make you scream, apparently. I'm going to read some of the titles so you can kind of get a feel for what we have. So we have Reckless Eyeballing, scary title, Wandering Devil. We have An American Fable and Hide and Seek. There's just so many things in here, and from what I read, I haven't read this yet, but from what I read, there's some queer aspects in here as well. So again, black and it's queer, and it's got some horror as well. Beautiful cover. On the back, we have a list of the contributors as well. So if this fits your bill, something that you think you're going to enjoy this Halloween, it's quite lengthy as well, so it should take you through the rest of October and into November as well. Right on theme. This is Out There Screaming, edited by Jordan Peele, with the list of the contributors. If you love vampires, which is perfect on theme for Halloween, you're going to love Octavia E. Butler's The Fledgling. It follows a vampire. She's 53, so she's not young, she's not old, and basically she wakes up with no memories, but she's a vampire, and that's all she knows. So it just follows her life and her recovering her past and her history and trying to come to terms with everything. I haven't read it. It does sound really cool, but I mean, if we're gonna do black books for Black History Month and Halloween, I think that's perfectly on theme, don't you? Next up, we have Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This is another black queer book. It's crime, mystery, thriller with a bit of horror in there. It follows two men who are fathers and their sons who are married to each other, brutally murdered, and no one really knows why. So the book just follows the murder mystery of unpacking what led up to their deaths, what happened, so who killed them, and the aftermath after. It's a very heavy book, so again, I implore you, if you're not in the right space, not the right headset, please just take some time. Don't read a book in all one go. You can take some breaks, read some romance here, but again, it is a good book to read and perfect in time for Halloween, perfect in time for end of October as well. Just another black author book, which I love. So yeah. Next, we have Ryan Douglas's The Taking of Jake Livingston. It's based in a school. Jake is a medium, basically, and just some things are happening to him. I'm not going to spoil it, too tough, but I implore you guys to read it. It is a good book. It's queer. It's got some horror aspects to it, and it's also black authored with a black main character. So that sounds up your street, so it is up mine. I would say you guys should pick it up. It's horror fiction, it's supernatural, it's got some psychological thriller elements to it. So I think that's, for me, when I look for a horror book anyway, I look for a mix of horror, psychological, and also a bit of historical as well, because sometimes you can have some historical fiction elements that are quite scary, because history can be scary sometimes. So when those three elements come together, and this book has got 2 out of 3 of them, I know that the book is going to be great. So I'm probably going to bump this up on my list. I think you should too, to be honest. And if it's not on your list, add it to your list and add it to your bookshelf. Next up, Ace of Spades by Farida Abike-Yimide. You might have heard of this book before. It was all around, everywhere, all on TikTok, and it did really, really well. Another dark academia. It follows our 2 main characters, Devon and Chiamaka, as basically their school is just crazy. Again, like as another dark academia, there's not much to say, apart from the fact that if you are going to pick up this book, make sure you're in a decent mindset. It does get a bit heavy. The ending was actually quite dark. A lot of horror, a lot of thriller aspects. Again, it's a Black authored book with some queer aspects in it as well. I loved it because of that. And yeah, perfectly on theme for someone who's trying to read some Black authored books in this Black History Month and in time for Halloween. So this is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike-Yimide. Next up, we have Ring Shout by P.J. de Klerk. Piece of speculative fiction with a lot of horror aspects in here. It follows Maurice, our main character, as she makes her way through post-slavery Jim Crow South. But it's got some magical elements, some mystical elements in here too. Very, very thriller, very, very horror. It's got some monsters in here, it's got some magical swords, and it just adds that African-American mythological element to the things that happen in the Jim Crow South. So looking at the KKK, looking at the freedom fighters and everyone out there is trying to get them free from the Jim Crow South. So if that sounds like something that is still down for, pick this up. Again, perfectly on theme for Halloween and Black History Month as well. Ring Shout by P.J. de Klerk, who's also one of the contributors in Out There Screaming. Imagine living your best life, having the time of your life at a resort, and then people that you know just start disappearing in the middle of the night. No explanation, no reason. And then the other people that you're around that are still there act as if it never happened. They don't want to talk about it. Just poof, vanished into thin air. And that's what happened to Jay in The Getaway by Lamar Giles, or Giles. I think that's his name. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm quite bad with names. Is what it is. But it's YA. The cover is freaky. It's going to be here somewhere. The cover is freaky. It's given kind of Saw like. So again, perfectly on theme for Halloween. Perfectly on theme for Black History Month, as it's written by a Black author with Black characters. It's there. If you've ever read the horror at Red Hook, you're going to love Victor LaValle's novella, The Ballad of Black Tom. It follows that first story, but from the perspective of a black man. If you haven't read or heard of the first story, I think you should go and read it or do a quick Google and then come back and read Victor LaValle's novella. It's a great thing. I love stories that really retell things that have already been established from the black person's perspective. Just adds a new dimension. And again, it's just, I'm all for representation. I'm all for pushing stories that are black onto people's bookshelves, just diversifying it. Adding some color, adding some pizzazz. That's all I'm here for. So yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. I think you should too. Let's do it together. Now I'm gonna give you guys my final recommendation, but before I do that, I've been John Paul at JPV6 on TikTok. Give me a follow if you like these recommendations. I have more that aren't just horror. I've got some romance, some literary fiction, some science fiction, some crime, everything you need that's black authored to decorate your bookshelf. I'm your guy. So if you like that, give me a follow on TikTok and there'll be more to come. But my last recommendation is anything by Tiffany D. Jackson. She is there for horror. There for your horror recommendations. You're gonna find at least 3 to 4 books that are gonna give you a jump scare as you're reading. So if you like those recommendations before and you're looking for an author who's gonna give you that consistent scare, that consistent jump, Tiffany D. Jackson is your author. But that's it, everyone. Those are recommendations. I hope that they find you and your bookshelf well. If you like any of those, come back to this video once you've read them. Give a like, give a comment, share what you feel, quick review if you can in the comments, and just tell the book break what you thought about these recommendations. It's been lovely being here. Hopefully I'll see you guys again soon. Take care, enjoy the rest of your Black History Month, and enjoy your Halloween.